Hey brand builders and aspiring brand builders, we have got a treat for you today on this week's episode of the Brand Builder Show. I'm joined by Andri. Andri is someone who has launched, built and sold an Amazon brand in the last couple of years. He built it and sold it for $500,000, and he talks all about the details of that in today's episode and how he has taken that experience to then roll it into launching a bigger brand, got proof of concept, understands that he now has the skill sets to be able to go on and do something much bigger. We talk about what that is and how he's got there and his interesting journey in this episode today. So I know you're going to love this episode. It was recorded live inside of our FBA Freedom Challenge, where we invited a whole bunch of guests, successful sellers, etc., to come in and share their wisdom to all of the 600 people that joined that challenge. And so I wanted to make sure that this got out to beyond that. Andri has some great thoughts, and I knew you would find it helpful on this podcast too. So check it out, and if you like it, then let me know. All right, let's get into it. I'm here with Andri. Andri, great to have you with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's my pleasure.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited about this interview. We were just kind of chatting then, and I said I'd kind of seen you through some other content and kind of seen a bit of your story, but I don't know loads about it. So it's going to be interesting for me. I went to start asking you some questions about, your story, and I thought, that's my the biggest thing I've got to learn as a relatively new podcast host is stop asking all the good stuff before we hit record. So I try to not ask too much, and then when you're when we're recording, we're asking all the juicy stuff. So yeah, we're going to get into this. We're recording this, so it's live inside the challenge. But so if you guys that are watching on and want to ask questions, please do put those in the comments, and we'll put some of those to Andri. We've got people from all over the world. So for some, it's the middle of the day, some it's the middle of the night. But hopefully, there's a bunch you can come on live and just let us know any thoughts or questions you have, and we'll put them to Andri. But yeah, without further ado, Andri, take it away. Let's hear a bit about you. Firstly, give us a bit of background on who you are, where you're from, where you're living, all that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely. My name is Andri Sadlak. I'm originally from Ukraine, but I live in Vancouver, Canada. I've been traveling the world a little bit while I was building the business, so been to a few places. Currently focused on building my new brand because I sold one of my brand, like my first brand I sold late 2020. Building a new one. Also, I have an e-com brand builder mastermind that I co-host. So that's like a community for advanced sellers. Mm-hmm. And I'm also building a software. If you're watching the video, you see the name of it. It's Product Opinion, basically an insanely valuable surveying tool, something that helps Amazon sellers with converting on Amazon.
Awesome, man. So good, so good. I've actually been to Ukraine. I've been to Kiev, and
nice.
I actually enjoyed it. It was great. I went on one of those trains that takes you across the country and takes about like 16 hours or something. It was a wild experience.
Crazy. Yeah, I love those trains. You can go to sleep and wake up in a new city, which is on the other side of the country.
Yeah. or wake up at some random station and there's a babushka trying to sell you stuff through the window. It's absolutely wild. It's good, man. What sort of took you to Canada from Ukraine?
Following my dreams. I always wanted to be in a business-friendly environment. Well, it's business-friendly in Ukraine too nowadays. But back in the day, I felt like America is the way to go. Then I figured out Canada is easier to emigrate. Mm-hmm. People seem to be nice and friendly. I like the nature, and I love outdoorsy stuff. So I was like, yeah, let's give it a try. Worst case scenario, 5 years later, I'll have that citizenship and I'll go somewhere else.
Nice. Yeah, I hear so much good stuff about Canada. I was saying before, it's somewhere that I really want to visit. So it's good, man. It's really good.
Beautiful country.
Yeah, no, that's all I ever hear. I want to only ever hear about how beautiful it is. So no, it's good. It's good. So give us a bit of backstory then about selling on Amazon. How did you come to find out about selling on Amazon? When did you start? What was that period of your life like?
That time I was working my corporate job. It was real estate development. Okay. Regular 9-to-5 job, a lot of work. I quickly figured out I'm not going to be a partner in any capacity. I'm not going to impact my income in any capacity. So I started looking for alternative ways to build that freedom lifestyle that I wanted. And the most obvious thing that comes to mind is you have to have an online business. So I started talking to people I knew who were somehow in the online business space. Yeah. And they recommended me to talk to someone who was already selling on Amazon. Mm-hmm. So I jumped on that Zoom call, just like we have right now. And I asked him a few questions. His name is Leo. Leo was like, yeah, I've been selling for the last 7-8 months or so. I crossed 10K a month in sales. It's all real. This is what I sell. This is how I do it. This is how I research. And I was like, finally, someone that I see actually doing this told me that it's possible. So at that point, I had a little bit of switch in my mind that made me believe that I can do that too. So I started researching, asking him questions. I would have like once a week, once every couple of weeks, have a call with a list of questions to him. In the meantime, I'd research everything through Facebook groups and YouTube. And long story short, from 2016-ish, end of 2016 to end of 2017, that's how long it took me to research, find suppliers, pick one, and send products to be in stock. So I launched in December 2017. Nice. And the rest is history.
No, that's awesome. And how did that first product launch go?
It went okay because it was a giftable product, scratch off maps. If you know what it is, if you're watching the video, you see one of them in the background. So scratch off maps have been, that's one of mine. Nice. Not the best seller, but I kind of liked it. They were good for Christmas time, right? So Q4 was big. And I happened to launch in early December. So there was a lot of organic traffic, people looking for a good product. And I don't know if it's a problem. Sometimes it is a problem that when I launch something, it's the best. Like I made sure it's really nice. And compared to all the Chinese competition I had, it was standing out big time. So it went okay. And it was somehow surreal. Like I remember seeing, I think it was December, like 20th or something. I was sitting in the boardroom, still working in the office and having some kind of meeting. And I checked my app quickly and I was like, oh, that's crazy, 10 a.m. Pacific. And I already crossed $1,000 in sales. And it's been like maybe 2-3 weeks of selling. And I have no idea what's going on. At that point, I was like, there's something I need to do to scale this. Like it's working. Even though I don't know much, it's working. So I need to learn more,
Wow. And I was going to ask you about that because it's, I remember doing, because I started selling on Amazon in 2017 as well. And I remember doing product research and it was one of the, products that would come up all the time. And so you would have had a boatload of competition. Like, how did you deal with that? Because it was the main product, or was it the only product line that you did? It was very focused on those products.
Well, eventually when I sold the business, I had 2 product lines, but I started with scratch off maps. But I did add poster hanger frames later on. Okay. So wood sticks that would hold the poster. But it was the main product for a while. First year and a half, probably even close to 2 years, it was the main, like the best selling product for me. It was one single scratch off map of the world.
Yeah, nice. And how did you sort of deal with the quick growth? Did you stock out? Did you have to kind of get some financing on board? What was that kind of period like?
Oh yeah, I had it all. Like I've been out of stock. I had first half of the year actually was quite a roller coaster. I think it was May or so, maybe June of 2018 now. I started seeing 1-2 star reviews coming in. People saying that they can scratch off my scratch off map. Wow. And a lot of emails saying the same thing. And I was like, that's weird. Like this manufacturer was amazing. I actually made it in Ukraine because I wasn't happy with the quality in China. Also, the other reason was I could design it compliant with the United Nations map regulations, while Chinese make you design it in a way China sees the world. So there was a little bit of political thing too. So I did make it in Ukraine. I was super happy with the quality. And then this comes in. And I started looking into it. I ordered a few to a friend in the US because I live in Canada. It takes forever to get a product. So they could test. They kind of confirmed to me that there's an issue. It's not as easy to scratch anymore. And at some point I was receiving a lot of emails, a lot of 1-2 star reviews, which was like downhill journey. And I quickly stopped listings. I recalled all the inventory I had still in Amazon warehouses, sent it all to a warehouse in New York for my freight forwarder to test everything. It was about 5,000 units in total. So that whole order was 5,000 units and it was everything. It was only one product I was selling. So there was a lot of stress. At the same time, my employer tells me that they need to restructure the company. They don't need me anymore.
Wow.
And I was like, okay, that's interesting. Now let's see what's going to happen. So in total, Amazon-wise, like that business, I was looking at about $35,000 US in losses. not counting lost opportunity of being out of stock, not selling at all. And I was like, okay, I need to do something. I don't want to go back to work. I could probably find another similar job, but the whole goal of this business was to get that freedom, right? And 2 weeks vacation, which is common in Canada, was not acceptable
crazy.
for me, being from Europe. I was like, no,
no,
this
it's
is
crazy.
not.
I can't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like not okay for me, right? So I was like, okay, let's see what else I can do. What did I have? And I quickly realized that the only thing left was my townhome. So I used to have like the place I lived, townhome in Kelowna, BC, a very small place, but the market was already growing fairly fast. So I really appreciated it. I'm like, okay, if I sell it now, I'll probably be able to recover the business. And that's what I chose to do. So I sold it without realtors, just basically sold it on Facebook. And most of it went into the business gradually. So first I repaid my loans that I had for the business. Then I started paying for new inventory. And like long story short, I improved my quality inspection process, which is a big lesson and big improvement to the business. And in December, I was back in stock. In December, I already crossed 50K in sales in a month. And I was no more in Canada. I left because it's expensive to live there, especially if you're jobless and homeless, right? So I was like, why would I rent something and commit to a year if I can live for less in Bali, for example? So I went to Bali. We traveled to a few countries in Southeast Asia, then later Mexico, United States. So lived that digital nomad lifestyle for a while I was recovering the business. That was a fun time.
The 5,000 units, what did you end up doing with them?
We sent it to garbage.
Oh, are you serious? Wow. I thought maybe like you might have sold it on eBay or something, but wow.
Yeah, I tried that for a little bit, but didn't feel right. Like, even though I was selling it for like $10 on eBay and it was $30 on Amazon, the chance that someone would get one of the maps that they couldn't scratch didn't feel right because there's still my brand on it, and I took pride in designing the best possible scratch map in the world.
Yeah, wow. That's crazy, man. It's it's not uncommon. You hear people's stories of success, and you hear everyone else will see, oh, you sold your business. That's so exciting and amazing. But then there's all of these challenges that you face along the way. And that would have been pretty significant, right? And the levels of commitment to sell your property, to go into, put it into the business and keep it going. That's entrepreneurship. That's the, your commitment. And I love that. And so well done for doing that. But there must have been points where you felt like giving up, surely.
Maybe for a little bit. Like for me, maybe I think differently because I'm an immigrant. If I lose everything, where I started, right? So there's probably less fear of losing everything. And at the same time, my desire to be free from having a boss and being limited to one location, showing up in an office or something like that was so big that I was like, okay, I'll figure this out. No matter what it takes, I'll do this somehow. And I would talk to a lot of people, share my story, ask for advice. And that's what entrepreneurship also teaches you, being humble and accepting lessons that come your way, not only from teachers, mentors, but also from the situations you get yourself into.
No, for sure. Do you think it's like an Eastern European trait as well, that grit and determination?
Possibly. Maybe. Hard to say because
I think, I'm from the UK, and I think there's so many people in the UK that just take every opportunity to be negative and, see the worst in every circumstance. And so it's interesting to see if it's,
I think it's more of a choice. I wouldn't contribute it to one nation or part of the world. It's more of a mindset thing. And that's something that I've been working on a lot. And that's probably the only thing I focus on every day that's consistent, making sure that I see positives, making sure that I understand my path, my goals, I have clarity around what I need to do every day, right? So that mindset is the thing that makes all the difference. And it's common for entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs usually have a very positive outlook on the future.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Like sometimes I call myself like an eternal optimist, but I think that is the nature of an entrepreneur. You believe the best and you look for the best in every situation. And
exactly.
So, I agree, man. What are you doing to work on your mindset? What kind of things you reading, or what's the strategy?
Yeah, reading for sure. not really a big reader, so I usually listen to audiobooks more. Sometimes I would read and listen at the same time just to absorb it better. But it's not as consistent as I think it should be. But I listen to a lot of people that inspire me to do big stuff, and I would learn that way, like podcasts, YouTube videos. Um, like I start my day when I don't screw up and I don't wake up too late. I start my day with meditating, which calms my mind. I review my goals. I do some journaling. All of that, like even like in front of me, there's a whiteboard where I have my goals and what I'm working on, some random notes, all of these clues and reminders. And when I feel down, I also have this recording on my iPhone with me speaking out loud what I'm about, what my mission in life and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And usually that inspires me. It gets me back on the rails to work on my goals.
Yeah, nice. That's so good, man. So good. So let's keep talking about this brand then. Like obviously you hit the 50K sales. What was that, December 2018 or 2019?
Yeah, that was December 2018. I'm in Bali, 50K in sales.
Nice. Yeah, good place to do it. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
For sure.
And so then 2019, what was the journey through that year?
After I've spent those 8 or 9 months of traveling, I realized that I'm not very productive when I have to relocate all the time. So that's around the time I started. 2019 is when I started my little mastermind group. So I had a few friends who I knew they were selling on Amazon too, that similar values. I like them. So I offered them to jump on weekly calls and keep each other accountable with each other's goals. So that's how it all started. And from then, basically in 2019, I still had 2 SKUs. But in 2020, when I sold the business, it was 15 SKUs. Oh, no. So that accountability worked like magic. I could see other people crushing it, and I was like, okay, I can do this too. So I focused on scaling. I minimized my life expenses. We were having a roommate, basically living on about $1,000 a month, Canadian. But everything I had went into the business. And that's why it scaled so fast. So in 2020, when I was selling, I listed the business was 12 SKUs, 2 product lines, lots of variations, different sizes, colors, and stuff, because that was the low-hanging fruit. But by the time we closed, 3 more came in stock, so technically 15 SKUs.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. So at what point did you start to think like this is something I want to sell, and that becomes part of your strategy?
That was probably around the time I came back from traveling. I was like, traveling is nice because I can live cost effectively and have some memorable experiences, meet amazing people. But I felt like I could do more and I had potential to build something bigger and more impactful. I started losing a little bit of motivation too, like in terms of being committed to the space, right? I was like, okay, this is fun, but it's been like almost 2 years of me playing in this. Kind of started getting bored, and I wrote down in my notepad that I'm going to sell my brand Travelization for 500,000. At that point, that felt surreal for me as an immigrant. For like 50K, I can buy a decent condo in the capital of Ukraine, which is the biggest city. And I was like, if I sell it for 500,000, then I'm going to be rich, It doesn't feel that way in Vancouver, one of the least affordable places on planet Earth. You can't even buy a condo for that much. But I was like, yeah, if I sell it for that much, it's going to mean something. It's going to mean that I can build a business, basically, right? So my hand was shaking. I wrote it down, and then I forgot about it. I kept working on the business, following my goals. And then I started seeing my friends listing their businesses for sale and selling them. I was like, okay, now it's possible for my friends. Maybe I should talk to brokers, which I did. That felt even more real. I talked to a few people who sold as well. They gave me some good advice on how to prepare for the exit. And it's kind of happened naturally. The interesting thing is when I sold it, I was like, nice. I see the cash in my account. Now what?
I think that's what everyone says, that they sell. It's it gets to that point where you're like, okay, that's cool for a few minutes, and then it's okay, what's the next thing?
Yeah, because it kind of became my identity to run the business, and I was always open about it too. So it's not like most Amazon stars; they would never tell you what they sell. I would like, buy my scratch off map. It's the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
So everybody knew me as the maps guy at that time, and I was like,
Yep.
now what's going to be my identity? So it took me some time to rest, relax, refresh my mind, and realize what I want to do next.
Yeah.
But realistically, money-wise, 80% of what you make from the Amazon FBA business is in the sale, in the exit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. How did you sell it? Did you go through a broker or privately? How did you do that?
Yeah, it was a little bit of a journey too. I went with one broker, wasn't happy at all. The offers were lowballing. The system they built was, in my opinion, was built for the buyer more so than for the seller. And then I went with another broker, which I'm happy with. Their system is perfect, super fair. And not only I was getting more and better offers, but it was a super fast process. So if anyone's thinking of selling, I'm happy to share my experience and give you some hints of advice. And maybe it's the way to go for you too.
Yeah, for sure. You said it was nice and smooth. Do you remember like timelines in terms of from when you had the offer to when the money was in your bank?
Yeah, it was when I listed the business, I think it was like Monday. I already had like 6 or 7 interviews booked in that day for the next few days. And within a week, I had at least 10 interviews. And you also get notifications when people look at your package. So they study your numbers and stuff. And there was at least 100 people. So at that time the market was hot, but it's probably as hot right now. The multiples went up since then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
If nothing else changed in my business and I listed it for sale now, I'd get at least twice as much.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, are you able to share like, or you don't have to if you don't want to, but like multiples and how that works and all that kind of stuff?
Oh, for sure. In my case, if you look at the last 12 months profits, my multiple was about 3.35x, which is low in today's numbers. Today would be at least 4.5, 5.
Yeah,
it was
good back then though, for sure.
Yeah, wasn't bad.
Yeah. Do you regret selling it?
No, I don't regret. I regret not having a clear plan what's going to happen next. I still didn't believe that it's going to happen until I saw the money, basically. I don't regret selling it because it kind of freed my mind for new projects, for new opportunities. And I was able to reassess my life without being in a rush because I had that buffer, right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think and not to speak for your decision making or your lifestyle, but it's the kind of money that's enough to, like you say, give you a buffer. It's a nice experience, but it's not gonna drastically change your life. I mean, you never have to do anything again. It's like it's maybe a good first business sale, right? Because it's a good chunk of money, shows you that you can do it, and there's proof of concept and gives you some capital, but then it gives you the drive to go on and do something else.
100%. For me, it was exactly that, the proof of concept.
Yeah.
At that point, I believed that I can do something similar on a bigger scale, right? I just didn't know what yet, but now I think I do.
Yeah. So, and you're going to do that, right? That's part of your plan is to do something bigger.
Absolutely. Yeah, and again, even if this new business doesn't work out, what's fun to realize is now that I have that exit behind me, I have more confidence that one of my projects eventually will work out, and that's probably going to hit home big.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And so one of the things as well is this software, Product Opinion. Talk to us a bit about that. When did that start?
Absolutely. Look, Product Opinion is my passion project right now, and I have very high hopes for it. The software is, what I call it properly, it's like an insanely powerful tool for increasing your conversion if you use it right, because it's all based on Amazon customer feedback. And just to explain how I got into it, I believe the success of the brand I had, the brand that I sold, was in me building a community of Amazon. I had a Facebook group, I had an email list that I was always growing. And these people were my lifeblood of the business. I would ask them everything I need to know to make any marketing decision or to design a product. I would ask what they prefer, A or B. They would vote. They would help me make all of those decisions. And surprise, surprise, when you do what they ask, they're happy, they buy it, you make money, right? Same thing here with Product Opinion. I found myself in a position with a new brand that I'm building of not having that community, not being able to ask anyone who actually cares. I could ask my relatives and friends, but it's not useful really. And they also love you too much, to be honest. So with Product Opinion, you can go to this random audience, you can select your specific demographic too that you're trying to serve and ask them, hey, if you were searching for this and this, what would you buy, for example, right? That's one of our standard campaigns. And the nice feature we have is people would screen record their screen and speak out loud what they think and answer questions. And after a few of those videos, start seeing commonalities. And those commonalities can lead into you doing the second thing that we have, the A/B testing. So you would have that idea that they voiced, split test it and see which version of it people prefer. Obviously, if you do that well enough, systemically enough, you'll first of all minimize guesswork. You're not going to change something in the Amazon listing and then have drop in sales and drop in ranking. Most likely, like it's humans looking at your listing on Amazon too, the exact same Amazon customers, right? Most likely they'll just buy it more often. And if you improve it all the time, trust me, none of the competition will be doing that. Like if you only make, I did this math, if you only make 1.4 improvement in one metric, 1.4% improvement in one metric, let's say it's main image and you try to improve conversion. Let's say it's 1.4% improvement. Every week you do something to improve it, whether it's title, whether it's coupons, price, something in the reviews, whatever people see before they click, right? 1.4% improvement a week doubles your metric in a year. Wow. So if your conversion is 15% right now, you can easily double it in a year as long as you stay committed to that constant process of improving that metric. Wow. So that's what the tool is for.
Very good, very good. And use case for a new seller that's maybe researching a product, are there things you can do there in terms of how you can differentiate and things like that?
Absolutely. I'm a new seller now, right? I'm launching a new product. And that's what I've been doing. Like first thing I did was ask Amazon customers which product in my category they would buy. So I gave them a link to search results. They click on it and then they think out loud. They tell me, okay, this one looks interesting. This design is weird. I would never click on this. Okay, this is probably the best deal I see based on the reviews and price, and the image is very appealing. Let me click on it. They click on it. Oh, I like that it's, I don't know, eco-friendly. I like that they talk about this and that. And oh, this is important for me. This is my top priority right now. And they look at a few, and I start realizing that watching these videos of people from the outside telling me what matters to them gave me a very clear idea of what I need to do so that people buy mine versus the existing competition. So that's the first step I've done. Then second was I send them to the best-selling competitors and ask them what would they need to know to recommend this to a friend, again, to clarify what matters to them, right? So that gave me good ideas too. And that led me to creating different packaging, different messaging, different ingredients, because it's a food product. So basically making sure the problems they have in mind for this product being a solution are solved better. And then once I have the listing, I'll be continuing doing that because I want to always be on top of things because my competition will never be that consistent, right?
Yeah, for sure. Did you say this new product that you're looking at is a food product?
It is, yeah.
That's cool.
Food / supplement. It's kind of good for your health. It is very different, way more expensive to launch, way more risky in my opinion. But I believe in the space so much that I'm willing to give it a try.
Yeah, for sure. And so you're gonna sort of like source locally and all that kind of.
Yeah, I'm actually flying to New York to meet the manufacturer for the first time next week. Hopefully it goes well.
Yeah. How are you? Are you nervous about the compliance aspects and that kind of thing?
Yeah, most of it is taken care of by the manufacturer, but there's still tricky things that you need to take care of. It's not as straightforward as sourcing a home decor item from China.
Yeah. And you're going to be selling it on Amazon?
Yeah, I want to start with Amazon, but long-term goal is to own my own audience again. I love being able to talk to my customers, and Amazon doesn't really allow you to do that. And that's why I love Product Opinion, and that's why I want to build my own email list and have my Shopify store. Still new space for me, but my wife works in that space. She's doing e-commerce email marketing for quite a few years now, so she should be able to help me with that.
Yeah, I'll bet. Yeah, so that's a great partnership.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
That's good. So in terms of you are now again, as you said, a new seller again, and you're kind of diving into this whole opportunity. Going through it once and coming out the other side hasn't put you off, right? You're going back into it. And so for
Yeah.
new sellers that are coming into this, what would you say to them is the big opportunity? How are you viewing this new project, this next 3, 5, 10 years? What is the big opportunity for you and for other new sellers right now?
Some people say it's NFTs, but I don't know much about that space, so I can't comment. I try to learn, but it's still something new for me.
Yeah,
But
same.
overall, I think the mindset of how you treat your brand is going to determine your success.
Yeah.
So if you always focus on your customer and you find ways to do it better than the solutions out there that they already have access to, if you solve their problems better and you communicate it better and you take better care of them, you provide really good customer journey, which starts when they buy the product, doesn't end there. If you think of it that way, if you think of it as a real brand, not just jumping on Amazon's bandwagon, it'll go well. And ideally, you want to care about what you sell. You want to understand your customers. Maybe you're the ideal customer of your brand too. That makes it easier, but it's not necessary. It's that care. If you can out care your competition, you'll do well.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And do you think, the exit side of it is still a big thing in your mind? Are you thinking with this new brand, I'm going to sell it in X amount of years for X amount of money, or are you not thinking that specifically?
But this new one, I'm not thinking that way because the goal I had when I sold it was to start something that's going to be huge. It's going to be like my legacy, something I change the world with, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have any timelines there. I probably will sell it at some point to retire, or I don't know at what point it's going to happen, but it's not going to be anytime soon, I don't think.
Yeah.
Especially because I think I go into a very competitive space, which means it's not going to be profitable very soon. And I'm okay with that. I want to, like anything big requires a lot of sacrifice. Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen in the next 2-3 years, but eventually.
If you're going into something like that that's big, it's got a bit of risk, are you doing anything to protect yourself? Like in terms of when you sold that brand, have you kind of like just put a bunch of that away, or are you just literally going YOLOing it all into this, just going hard at this new brand?
No, I don't go all in. Maybe because I'm 31 now and I start thinking about family.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do have other investments. I invest a little bit in stocks, in crypto. I bought the house I live in with 2 rental suites that should work as a business. So I do try to diversify a little bit, but attention-wise, it all goes to Product Opinion, the new brand, and my mastermind. And it's good that it's all connected. Otherwise, I would go crazy. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend anyone to do any more than one thing at a time.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's really good, really insightful, and I love the fact that you've been on this journey and then again to start this journey again. I think that's really, a confidence giver for everyone that's listening that maybe hasn't started yet, is wondering how they can get started. To hear that you are, you've done it once and now you're thinking, right, it was good last time, so I'm going to do it again. I think that is really, really good. We have got people watching this saying this is like really helpful stuff. Paul's asking a question: did you start your community before your initial product launch?
Yes, I did. It was kind of unique because I always loved traveling. I consider myself a global citizen, so I started just for fun, basically. By the time I had the product ready and in stock, I had a little less than 1,000 people in that Facebook group.
Wow.
But most of them I knew, and obviously none of them were my customers yet, but it was still a good place to share my journey with, right? And it did give me confidence because even the initial decision, the map that I launched, the first one, I wasn't sure whether I should go with the white one or the black one. The background should be white or black. Like the one you see behind me, if you're watching the video, is white. And I liked it better. I almost launched the white one, but then I was like, I'm doing this for other people. It's not for me. Let me ask them. So I asked that group and they voted. And most of them, probably like so close to 70%, said, oh no, the black background one looks so much better. It's like, okay, I'll trust your opinion there, and I'll launch it. I'll launch the black one, and thank God.
Such a hack for like getting real good feedback. Like we have a toy brand, and I've been saying to my business partner for a while, we need to start a Facebook group designs to like aimed at mums, because 70% of our customers are female, mostly mums, and we need to create a Facebook group and just attract as many of those as possible. And thankfully we've got kids, so my wife is involved in the business and my business partner's a mum, and so I'm just like, you guys just create this community of mums and give us feedback on what kind of toys they want, what kind of develop, because it's such a great resource, right? Similar to obviously, and that's where you're really honing in with that software now. So it's such a massive part of the process.
It is. Yeah, you can't just come up with something. I don't believe in genius. I don't think someone can just come up with something genius. You need to listen to your customer. There's a term called social listening, right? Some people do that as a service. They would scan the whole internet, all the social medias, to collect real feedback, right? You can do the same with the tool I built. You can do the same yourself. It's just longer and harder. And just to be clear, I don't promote creating Facebook groups for everybody, like all the brands, and that's the way to go. It may be or may not be. It depends on the brand, on the space. And also Facebook seems to be changing their algorithms. I see less and less organic reach when I post to groups. So maybe the way to go would be for some people in partnering with existing audiences. So partnering with someone who has big outreach, or trying different things and seeing what sticks. Maybe TikTok, maybe it's creating a Discord channel, maybe it's something else. Like there's so many ways to build a community. I just think you should think of it if you think long-term. If you just want to find a product that sells and there's not enough competition, temporarily it's going to work out. But I believe only that true old school brand building and care for the customer will get you to very high highs and will let you sell that business for a lot.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a lot of work on Facebook groups. So, if you ready-made, even ready-made service like yours, it's going to save you a lot of time.
Yeah, it's still a lot of work, even using like this service. You probably go to Fiverr and be like, hey, people give me feedback, right? And they would. But it's just a lot more to manage that way, right? And probably not even as cost-effective.
Yeah, for sure. Another question, what components besides the Facebook group were part of the community? Did you add anything else on that built the community around the product?
No, it was basically around the idea of traveling being good for your personal growth, and the idea of global citizenship. So loving each other, no matter where we come from, and being accepting. And people like that, I think. And I would share a lot of useful stuff that I find elsewhere with the community. So if I find a good place to find deals on flight tickets, I'd share it. If I find good travel credit card, I would share it. If I find a fascinating story about some unique place on this planet, I would share it. And people like that. They were like, oh, these are like a channel of good news.
No, that's good. Another question, when you became aware of the product quality issues, how did the brand recover from the low star reviews? Yeah, that's a good question, actually. If you got lots of 1 or 2 star reviews, what did you do to mitigate that?
A couple things. First, back in the day, and I don't think it's possible anymore, so that was 2018, so take it with a grain of salt. Back in the day, a friend of mine recommended me this black hat tactic of finding emails of people who leave reviews. I don't think it's possible anymore, and I probably wouldn't even do that if it was, because it's risky. So I tried that, and probably half of the people responded. And probably 1/3 of them agreed to get a free product when I was back in stock, and update the review. I never forced anyone, but I was like, would you mind editing it or something like that? So that helped a little bit. But again, that's what I did just for full transparency, but it's not something I would recommend. And again, I don't think it's possible anymore. Now, what I focused on most of my attention is collecting more 5-star reviews. And the way I approached it was, first of all, the product was incredibly good. Again, it's back to normal quality. My quality inspection process was like 3-step process. Inspector visited at different times. I custom built it just to minimize any risk of that happening in the future. So I knew for sure the quality was good.
It must have been hard, the inspection process, because theoretically, to properly test it, they'd have to ruin the product, right? Scratch it off.
Yes. Yeah, so a lot of ruined product. And that's part of the reason I was the most expensive in the space too, because it was the best quality and I could stand behind it. But what I also did, I added an insert at that point. Insert was, I think it was promised in a freebie, and I didn't say what it is. QR code, website, and people would use it to get into my ManyChat flow, like a messenger flow. And in that flow, first I would like send my picture, be like, hey, my name is Andri, I'm the founder. Thank you for choosing Travelization. Which product did you buy? They would vote, like click on the bottom, which one they would buy, they bought. And based on that, the flow may change a little bit. But long story short, it was like a digital product of an ebook with 21 epic hikes in the United States. Because I knew my people like traveling. They probably like traveling in their home country too. So I did create an insanely good quality product that way, and people were happy with it. And I was like, oh, second freebie. I know you didn't expect it, but you can join this travel community for cost-effective travel advice, and to be surrounded by like-minded individuals. A lot of people joined as well. And then third thing, like probably a day later, was how's your experience with Travelization so far? And I gave them options to vote in star ratings, basically. So everybody who clicked on 5 stars would get like a message saying, this means the world to me. Would you please copy or submit your response to Amazon? No links, nothing, just purely asking. So it worked fairly well. It was, in my opinion, very, very safe overall. Anyone who voted less than 4 stars would, I would see that and I would respond and be like, tell me more, what's wrong, what can I improve? And I think even those conversations sometimes turned into 5-star reviews just because of the attention. People don't expect that level of attention and care from an Amazon brand, but I never treated it as an Amazon business. I always thought of it like a standalone brand that has a mission, that cares about the customer, wants to serve them. So I did my best to do that.
Yeah. For sure. No, that's really good.
So that led to 5-star reviews. When you have that issue, focus on getting more 5-star reviews, and it'll combat the 1-2-star reviews you had.
Yeah, I always say the same. You know, the amount of energy that you put into trying to stress about a 1-star, you'd be better off trying to get way more 5 stars. So, but
yeah, for sure,
it's a really good tip for anybody listening. You know, we recently changed. So we on our insert we did like a go to this page to get to enter a prize draw for $50, like a store credit type thing. It performed terribly, and so we changed it about 6 months ago to the same thing as what you're saying. They're like a free gift mini chat funnel, and our like opt-in rates have gone through the roof in comparison, and it gives you so much more flexibility to then, like you said, follow up with, you know, other things, communities, social media, feedback. There's so much flexibility with it. And if you don't say what the free product is, you can test different free products, and you know, such a win. Yeah.
Another advice on that, if you're thinking of improving your insert, what did make a big difference for me is stating at the bottom, valid only 7 days after the purchase. There's no way I can check, right? But I think people generally believe something is printed black or white. So they jumped on it right away. As soon as they see that, oh, it's valid only 7 days, let me try, you know? Otherwise, they just put it aside. I'll look at it later, and they never do.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's good. Yeah, really insightful and helpful today, Andri. I know we're recording on a Saturday, and it's your weekend, so I don't want to take like loads of your time. But is there anything that maybe I haven't asked that you feel would be good to share with the audience, or any sort of final tips that you'd want to share with them?
I think we covered a lot. The only thing I could add is if you see value in the software I co-created, Product Opinion, reach out to me. I'm happy to show you how to use it and improve your conversion on Amazon. Anything else I can help you with, if you're thinking of selling your business, reach out as well. Happy to support other entrepreneurs. If you're at least 10K a month in sales, preferably more, and you're focused on scaling your brand and exiting in the future, reach out to me, ask about the mastermind. It's like a accountability group for weekly calls. Anything else I can help you with, I'm always for being in touch with other entrepreneurs, because I do believe that the future that I see so bright is because we entrepreneurs change it. We change the world around us. Absolutely. So I want to provide that support as much as I can. Why? Because I get a lot of it as well. So
yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. I was going to say to you, final question, where can people find out more and stuff? What's the best place, the best avenue for people to get in contact? Is there a website or anything like that?
Yeah, if you just type in andrisadlak.com, ANDRISADLAK.com, all the links are there, and you can choose whatever avenue you want to take to talk to me.
Awesome. Well, we really appreciate your time, and I know a bunch of people will be going and checking it out, and just really wish you the best with all of these projects. The new brand, can't wait to see what that is. The software, the mastermind, all sounds like great stuff, and you've dropped some incredible value today. So we really appreciate you coming on.
It's my pleasure, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Hey, wasn't that an awesome story with Andri? He is another down-to-earth builder of brands, and what he's done with Product Opinion obviously is more great stuff there. If you do want to connect with Andri, make sure you do take him up on the offer. All the details for getting in touch with him are down in the link below, as well as a link to check out Product Opinion, his new tool that's going to help you to make decisions on your Amazon journey for optimizing things for your customer experience. Really great tool, really great idea, and loved what he talked about in that episode, what he's doing with that tool, and excited to see where it goes. If you like this episode, please do hit that thumbs up button. If you're watching on YouTube, or if you are listening on a podcast, when it's safe to do so, pull over on the highway and hit subscribe on your audio podcast player, and do leave us a review. If you do remember and have time to leave us a review, that would be greatly appreciated. The more reviews we can get, the better. It helps us to grow the podcast, get great guests on, and hopefully serve you on your brand building journey. We're on a mission to help you build a life-changing brand in 3 years or less. So let's get after it, and I'll see you in the next episode real soon.